talking about his poise and, his command of the huddle, that kind of stuff. Showcase there. First part of the game, he was not very good at all. The beloved Terrell Suggs is making his return to Baltimore so quickly. He obviously went to Arizona in the offseason. He had the usual nothing but good things to say about Baltimore, but said it was time to move on. I expect a mixed to slightly positive reaction for him before the game. Once the game gets going, he's an enemy. So I don't expect anybody to cheer for him. He had 2 sacks last week, which is pretty impressive for a man who's going to be 37 years old. But we're not the Detroit Lions. I think we'll put up a much better pass protection than he will. Lamar Jackson, I don't envision him having 5 passing touchdowns. Against Arizona without Patrick Peterson, I imagine he gets 2 passing and a rushing touchdown. Arizona can have a little bit of a pass rush threat, but I don't see their secondary stepping in the way. I expect more of the same, more running, more unbalanced lines, more creativity on the offensive side. Defensively, I think they're going to bait Kyler Murray into 2 picks, whether it's Earl Thomas or anybody else. Cornerback was our was our strongest position on defense. We got some injuries to it already, which is not helping. Obviously, had Tavon Young in the preseason. Jimmy Smith going down for a couple weeks with a knee injury. And then Marlon Humphrey missed Wednesday's practice. Hopefully by Thursday it'll be a little bit more clear. And hopefully we don't lose him as well, because that could be a problem. I think the Ravens handled business. I think the last time I saw the spread was 13.5. That's a little rich for my blood. I think Ravens 27, Cardinals 17. I think they keep it relatively close going into the fourth quarter, but the Ravens just keep pounding the rock, and they end up pulling away with a 10-point victory on Sunday. Thanks.
Battle of the SuperFans.
Hello, I'm Jordan, your Titans superfan, here to give you a preview of the Titans-Colts game this Sunday. I'm here by myself because, much like Andrew Luck, our Colts superfan has retired. So if there's any Colts fans out there who haven't given up on your team yet, and maybe even if you have, you could email nextfanup@gmail.com if you want to get in on the fun. If you want to say anything back to what I'm about to say about your team, that's your chance. But I'm going to give you the breakdown of this Titans-Colts game on Sunday with or without a Colts superfan. So, in case you haven't heard, Andrew Luck is gone. That means the Titans can finally beat the Colts again. So, this is going to be a very different opponent for the Titans than they faced last week. Last week against the Browns, it was a team with undisciplined star power. They had star players, but they made a lot of mistakes. The Colts are almost the opposite. Without Andrew Luck, they don't have a ton of stars, but what they do have is tremendous coaching. They do things the right way right now, which really pains me to say, but it is true. And it was legitimately impressive that they took the Chargers on the road and went to overtime against them. And honestly, I would be a fool to be taking this game for granted just based on the Titans' history against the Colts alone, because good things don't tend to happen when we play against Indianapolis. So let's go through the matchups. First of all, the Colts are in trouble when they're on offense. Okay, the Titans played against Odell and Jarvis Landry last week. Neither one got more than 75 receiving yards, even though they were playing from behind almost the entire game. The Titans defense is top 3 in the league right now, and nobody knows about it. But this team just does not have weaknesses. We have a strong secondary and elite linebackers, and we can finally rush the passer now that we have Cameron Wake, who was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week last week, who had 2.5 sacks that he got credit for, including a safety. Not only that, but for the Colts on offense, Devin Funchess is out, and so T.Y. Hilton is really their only option left. Their only hope is if T.Y. can go off like he did against the Titans last year, but of course that was with Andrew Luck and not Jacoby Brissett. The Colts right now have transformed into a run-first team, a team that is going to hide their quarterback. And you just can't win like that against the Titans. Just ask the Jags from the last few years. It's not going to work. The defense is too good to think you can win just by running it down our throats. We're not a team that you can run off that easily. Now, when the Titans are on offense, the Colts, let me tell you how the Colts defense is set up. They are lightweight and they are based on speed, which is not a bad strategy in today's NFL. It's actually pretty smart because speedy receivers are becoming more and more valuable. So it's smart to have your defense get more and more speed instead of being more physical. However, enter the king. Derrick Henry is just going to smash it down their throats because these Colts smaller defenders are not going to be able to take down Derrick Henry. The other thing is the Titans showed last week that Arthur Smith really put on a play calling clinic, which is very different than what we've had the last few years. And this might be too early to say this, but the Titans might have a new number one receiver in A.J. Brown. And that's no disrespect to Corey Davis. I love Corey Davis, but A.J. Brown last week was special. He had multiple 40 and 50-yard receptions. He was impossible to tackle after the catch, and that was only his first game as a rookie. So the Titans right now have more weapons, so much more weapons than they had last year. Don't forget Delanie Walker is back as well. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and he's just as good as ever. Okay, let's talk about a prediction for this game. Last week, the Titans had a statement win, except nobody really paid attention. Everyone just talked about, well, the Browns messed it up. Nobody's really giving the Titans too much credit for it. So, no surprise there. But I think the Titans are going to have to make another statement this game. And don't think I didn't listen to the Thursday show when everybody just breezed by the Titans-Browns game and just said, well, we're all picking the Browns, that's it. And nobody gave the Titans a second thought. I think teams are going to have to start giving us more credit. And today this Sunday, we're going to make another statement. I'm going to say the Titans win 30-13. This team is ready to go. This team does not have weaknesses. And sooner or later, the league's going to have to take notice. I'm guessing it'll be later, even if we keep winning. But we're just going to keep doing our thing. And I think this team likes being under the radar. They like being disrespected. This is the role they enjoy. And right now, they have the players and they have the health to back it up. Tighten up.
Battle of the Superfans.
And here for a Superfan battle that nobody asked for and maybe very few wanted, I am your Kansas City Chiefs Superfan, Nick, and I'm here with our Raiders Superfan, Monty. And I just couldn't avoid this thing because, you know what, Monty? We just have too much fun together.
The Raiders. Yeah, this might be the only time I'm going to be even in contention. As far as I can tell, Raiders are on top of the division right now.
This is true. And honestly, hey, this may be a week 2 battle, but it is a battle for several things. For one, it is a battle for the lead in the division, which in week 2, is a really big deal. Also, the all-time record between the Raiders and the Chiefs in Oakland is 20-19-1 in terms of like the Chiefs record. So if the Raiders were to win this, it would be a complete even sweep. It would be 20-20. It would be 20-20-1 between the Chiefs and Raiders. If the Chiefs win this game, the Chiefs will have an all-time winning record over the Raiders in Oakland, and I think that is noteworthy.
Yeah, and that would stand forever. But since some of the super nerds, super fans are into the next level analytics, that overall record doesn't include the times when the Oakland Athletics infield is present. And this weekend there will be infield. And since 2010, the Raiders have had a winning record whenever the dirt's on the field. So you guys probably aren't used to that. So we got to dig a little bit deeper to even the odds a little bit.
I love that, Oakland Raiders fans are that's what they're pulling for. Is well, hey, when we put sand traps in the middle of the field, we have a slightly winning record against the visiting opponents. That's home field advantage, bitches.
I know you respect history, and you're an avid historian. You go back through the time of the 60s and 70s. I mean, those guys are doing all sorts of messed up stuff to mess with the opposing team. So they're just keeping the tradition alive.
Okay, well, look, I mean, I think the Raiders are moving up a lot of different pundits, power rankings and boards and things like that, where they're dismantling of the Denver Broncos. But you and I both don't think the Broncos are very good.
After 1 week, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, why not overreact on week one?
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So, but nonetheless, I mean, I think everybody believes that the Chiefs are a different class in this division, and in fact, the Andy Reid Chiefs are 21 of 23 in terms of wins against the AFC West over that span. And I just don't see any way that the Raiders can counter the juggernaut that is the Chiefs this year. But look, man, you guys were on Hard Knocks. You guys rallied around the fact that your biggest acquisition left you. So, hey, I mean, are you feeling that great, like reality TV surge? Is that what you're going for in terms of what's going to win you this game?
Everything that you're saying right now, it sounds to me like just a classic trap game. You guys are looking ahead. You got a big game against Baltimore, another playoff team next week. You've just been on cruise control against all the AFC West teams. You think that this is going to be an easy one. I think that the Raiders are going to catch you sleeping, and they're going to go up and punch you in the mouth. And since you mentioned it, knock on wood, Nick, knock on wood.
I would knock on wood if I was with you, but I am not with you. Because, I mean, look, you're going into this game without your starting safety, who was featured on Hard Knocks, was a first-round pick, a guy that, it seemed like everybody was counting on to be a major contributor for your defense that was worse in the league last year.
The Rook?
You needed to improve. The Rook, yes.
The Rook? Oh.
I don't know about the status of your cornerback, Gary Conley, but you seemed like you nearly broke his neck on Monday night. So I don't know how much he's going to be playing.
You're in the right
Sunday.
section. You're in the right section of the defense. The biggest acquisition to this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is LaMarcus Joyner. And he plays free safety. We still have a hard-hitting, first-round draft pick in Carl Joseph out there. Jonathan Abram was good for Hard Knocks, but, I mean, nobody was expecting him to kind of take over the game. If anything, he was just out there to kind of send a message. And, we could probably stand to lose those 15-yard penalties that he was inevitably going to get as he learns a little bit about the game. And I think LaMarcus Joyner is kind of the story of the game, because from where I'm sitting, you guys lost Tariq Hill, who else stretches the field. And if LaMarcus Joyner can earn some of the money that they paid him and at least, hang with Travis Kelce and make it a little bit more difficult, that puts Sammy Watkins as your primary threat, and he might be injured right now. Like, who knows about that guy? Seems like he's made of glass.
I do like that you are already downplaying any impact from your first round pick in the secondary from last year. But to your point, I mean, if your guys are going to be focusing on neutralizing Travis Kelce, fine. If anybody watched the highlights from last week with Sammy Watkins, he's a different player, man. Like, he ran faster on some of those plays, especially the first one. You watch that first touchdown that Mahomes threw. It was like only a 10 or 15-yard pass. He still had three guys to beat. He got one good block, but he's made a couple of moves, and he already had 10, 15 yards of separation from the entire rest of the Jaguars defense. This guy is a changed man, and if he can actually transform physically and mentally into the guy that everyone thought he was when he was drafted, like, holy hell, then he's even better than Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill, I mean, look, he's elite at the specific skill set that he has. I mean, he's a great deep threat. He scares teams with the speed. In any way you use him.
He scares children.
I'm not going to get into that. Okay, sir. Mr. Antonio Brown.
Right.
But
why are you talking about the Patriots? Why are we talking about Patriots players? Let's stay focused on the game.
Good point. They had McCole Hardman to step into that role in the defense. Or in the offense. I don't expect him to play as well, but at least he's going to provide between him and DeAnthony Thomas, they can run those routes and those roles within the offense. You still have Sammy Watkins to deal with, who clearly showed against one of the best defenses in the NFL that he can do it. You still have to deal with Travis Kelce and LaShawn McCoy. Man, he looks like 5 years younger in the Chiefs in this